Hey, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Sunday evening? Ready to talk some Inter Miami? Well, I am. So let's go. It's a solo show tonight. Ed probably is not going to be able to drop in. He is at the airport doing some airport type business. So it is a solo show. So everybody in the chat, get active and let's get talking. And I will lean on you guys a lot to direct the show. But hopefully everybody's had a great weekend. The long weekend for many people. Luckily, I think some of us at least have Monday off, so that's nice. So I was considering going to Disney this weekend, to be honest with you, but my annual pass does not work because it's a holiday weekend. So I'm here. So thought about Disney, but chose to talk Inter Miami with you guys instead, or maybe it's just because the annual pass wasn't available. Anyways, long. Hey, let's say a thank you to our sponsor first before we get too far, and that is Caneswear. Caneswear is located in Davie, Florida, just south of 595 on University Drive. They have the messiest wall in all of South Florida. Get your local sports gear at Caneswear. Support a local business. You want them to keep continuing selling Inter Miami merch? Well, go buy it from them. You're going to get a little bit of a cheaper price, and you're going to support a local business. So go find them at caneswear.com if that drive is too far for you. And all orders over $99 ship for free. All right. So, like I said, we'll let you guys kind of drive the show a little bit. I've got a few topics to kind of talk about a little bit. We'll hit our ticker. One of the things, first, okay, hang on. I'm a little thrown off when Ed's not here. Let's say hi to you guys. There's a few of you in the chat. So let's go and say hi to those of you that are here. One World, One Goal is here. Miami Sports, welcome. Francisco and Young 305, easy. All right. Maybe it's a little light tonight, it being a holiday, but glad you guys are here with me. So training camp started. That's where the thumbnail was. A lot of new sponsorships have been mentioned, dropped in this time. The club has been pretty busy, so that's exciting. It seems to me like training camp in the old MLS 2.0 maybe, because we're now in 3.0. It seemed like the offseason was very long. Now it's not as long. And especially if you go to the championship game, you've got like a month off, and then you're right back at it. And let's be honest, they're playing games. Their preseason tour starts over the next weekend, so they've got meaningful games, games coming up real soon. So we'll see what they've got early in this season. A few more people checking in. Sergio is here. Louis Rodriguez, hey. And Mike V. Rocco will bench St. Clair by summer. Wow. Mike V always with the hot takes. I've never been a real Rocco fan. He's okay. He had a good run in the last quarter of the season. He was good, but he makes me nervous sometimes. He bobbles the ball, and he just makes me nervous. I think, we will. I think our defense will look better with St. Clair, but St. Clair also does have a history of just kind of screaming and yelling at his defenders. So hopefully it all goes well. I don't know how his Spanish is, but we shall see. Louis Rodriguez saying we might have a new attacker from Monterrey. Exactly. And that is Berterame. And here's a little article from The Athletic about Berterame. Herman? Is it Herman? I guess that's how you say his first name. And, according to the internet, it's a done deal. It's what everybody at least is thinking. Who had on their bingo card Inter Miami signing a player from Mexico? Who had that on their bingo card? When you thought designated player, Did you have Berterame, if I'm saying that correctly, on your bingo card? I don't think anybody did. And that's why it's always so hard when people say who do we think is going to come to the team. There's just so many players in this world. It's just you just never know who's on their target list. And actually, surprising, I was last week, I was of the mind that they're going to go with just the 2 DPs and 4 U22s. Like that's going to be their model, and it makes sense to wait so you get till the summer and find your bigger DP that you're looking for. What this means, though, really to me, what this is a signal is it goes back to what Jorge Mas had stated, that it's Champions Cup. It's CONCACAF Champions Cup. That's what their intent is. They've got the MLS Cup. Of course, they would love to win it again, but their main goal is the CCC. And that's why you need your third designated player now. And all indications, this guy's great. He's going to cost a pretty penny. $15 million is the fee to get him. And here one world goal saying he apparently is good, but Sir Bex likes Mexicans as he lived in L.A. Louis says Berterame is Argentina, but he's also Mexican. He's got the Mexican dual citizenship, I guess. So yeah, he does fit. He does fit our mold of must be Argentinian, but he's also Mexican because he's playing with the Mexican national team. So cost us $15 million. From what I've read, what I've heard is a lot of people consider him to be the best player, the best forward in all of not La Liga, in all of the Mexican league, Liga MX. And so if he's the best, and I think most people would agree that Liga MX is probably a better league than MLS. So if he's the best player in that league, then it might mean that he's just naturally the best player, best forward in this league. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Well, time will tell, right? When you have Messi feeding you the ball and Allende up and DePaul and all these great players around you, so he'll have a very good opportunity to thrive. But as far as like his output, it says here in this article that he signed with Monterrey in 2022. And in that time, he has scored 68 goals and 15 assists. It's pretty good. I mean, I take that. I think that's pretty good. A few more people have checked in. Here you go. Well, Francisco saying he's Argentinian, nationalized Mexican. Right. So if you're nationalized as a Mexican, you're a Mexican, but you're also Argentinian. That's like my wife. My wife is American, but she's Brazilian. She's both. Chris Arjun is here. Welcome, Boss Daddy. Louis Rodriguez says that Mas is pushing for Inter Miami to join Copa Libertadores. This is big. Yeah. Yep. I did read that as well. We're the team to do that, right? We're the biggest team in this league, whether people like to acknowledge it or not. Everybody and all the other teams like to call us cheaters and all those things. But right now, as of today, we are the biggest club in this league. Will we always be? Who knows? Every club has their ups and their downs. But right now, we are the biggest club in this league. And if anybody's going to play in Copa Libertadores, it's us. If anybody stands a chance to make a dent, it would be us. So yeah, that would be fun to see. Why did VL111114 says, why did we not find the new player Mikael and St. Clair in official videos yesterday? Well, I mean, I didn't see everybody in the videos, did we? And you never know. Maybe Mikael could still be waiting for his visa so that he can actually start to work. That's a possibility. I don't know that for a fact, but I could see that being an issue potentially. St. Clair doesn't have that issue, I don't think. I mean, he's Canadian, but I mean, he was already working in Minnesota, right? So it's no issues there. Mike V says, I'm an American citizen born abroad. It's weird. Yeah, I have a nephew. I have a nephew that is, he's American just like we are, but he only, as of about, 3-4 years ago, lived in the United States. He was born here, but then went right back to Brazil as an infant and lived his entire life in Brazil. But then, hey, he was born here, so he had citizenship. So it's like we were always telling him, come, take advantage of that. Anyways, so Mike V says Rocco. I mean, St. Clair is scared of Rocco, and that's why he wasn't there. That's funny. And then Hash says that St. Clair was there and was seen in Messi's Instagram post. See, there you go. He was there. Don't worry. Rico says, it would be insane if Inter Miami in Copa Libertadores this year, maybe in a northern group stage. When is the Copa Libertadores? I don't even know. I would assume, since there's no announcement yet, it wouldn't happen this year. We're more than likely talking about future. Louis is saying Miami making important moves to make this team bigger and better. Yeah, that's what's pissing off most of MLS. Because everybody talks about and uses LA Galaxy as an example of after you win a championship, you have to sell off so many of your players. And that you're generally not as good the next year. And on paper, this team could be better. Now, we can't diminish the fact that we had two great players that retired, right? So you can't just, they're going to be hard to replace, but it seems like we've done a pretty good job in their replacements, at least on paper. We'll have to wait and see how it gels, but it is frustrating to so many people. Francisco says Libertadores is closed this year. Yeah. All right. So next year, maybe next year. Whatever. I'm not going to try to say it. Miami Freedom Park ready? I'm actually going to talk about that in a little bit. In a little bit, I want to. I'm going to show some videos and kind of talk over it. Let's talk a little bit in like maybe 15 minutes or so about Miami Freedom Park, because people are freaking out. I see people in our comments saying that it won't be ready. I got thoughts. So one of our members, Julio Enriquez, is here. Speaking of, click that join button. Become a member. Support the channel. A few bucks. That's it. I don't know what this means. Moss said, after 24 to 36 hours, we could find a deal we'll develop with Mexico. But I'm assuming you're talking about the Berterame deal. So, everybody at least on the internet thinks it's a done deal. But speaking of, we also thought Blackman was a done deal. We thought Blackman was a done deal. I was hearing from some sources that it was done. Now, of course, Vancouver calls us liars, but I had heard that there was basically a deal in place and that, it fell apart for whatever reason. And that's the other thing is so many people that like want to call us cheaters and all that. They only talk about, hey, Inter Miami gets all the players they want. They end up coming to Inter Miami on a discount because of Messi, and that's not fair, right? That's what they all cry. It's not fair because we have Messi. Everybody gets the Messi discount, right? Because they just want to play with him, and that's not fair. Well, life's not fair. But they always focus on that. They always focus on the players that we do get. They don't really focus on the fact that we do lose out on some players. Blackman, they wanted him. They lost out on him. It didn't happen. He's staying in Vancouver. They really did want him. So, we don't get everybody. And that's where it's funny is nobody in the league that likes to complain about us really focuses on that we don't get everybody. But it sounds like they are still going to possibly go after somebody else. A guy named Johan Romagna, if I'm saying that right. You know how I kind of butcher most names. but he's a Colombian center back, so he would be competing for that center back role. I was thinking, look, with Blackman, I kind of felt like we didn't need him because they're bringing in Mikhail, right? You assume he's a starter. Falcone, I like, so I want him to be a starter. So then, if you bring in if you brought in Blackman and you're paying, whatever you're paying for him, probably a lot, he's fighting with more than likely. The guy I just said, geez, I forgot names. Anyways, one of our players is going to have to go to the bench, and now of course I know we need depth, and maybe this guy's the good depth, Johan Romagna. So maybe he's good depth, but also apparently River Plate want him as well. So he is 27 years old. He is, I think it was 6'2" or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. So yes, Falcone. Thank you, Boss Daddy. Sometimes I'm just talking and things are flying out of my mouth and I say somebody's name 1 second and then forget it the next. It happens. I'm old. Oh, Francisco with some thoughts. Romagna is very mid. So maybe you're bringing him in for depth. So play behind Falcone. One of our members, Julio, says Avilés can warm the bench. Avilés needs to go. That was one of the other topics on my mind, is that if you're bringing in Berterame, he's going to be a DP. At $15 million, he's going to be a DP. So no question, he's your third DP. You can't have 4 U22s and 3 DPs. It's 3 and 3 or 4 and 2. Or two DPs for U22s. So somebody's got to go. And to me, that's Avilés. So one of our U22s has to go. It's either Avilés or Segovia. And Mas just came out and publicly said Segovia's not going anywhere. We've got plans for Segovia. He's not going anywhere. So that leaves Avilés as an odd man out. Either they can find a way to sell him, offload him somewhere, or just buy his contract out, and just, eat it. Because you could buy out 2 contracts. So we've talked about this a lot this season or off season. And so I would buy out Ustari and I'd buy out Avilés. So Mike V says we can't keep 4 U22. Who are the 4 U22 again? So it's where's my list? It's let's go off the top of my head. I have a spreadsheet I could open, but let's just go off the top of my head. Avilés, Segovia, Ayala, and then Silvetti. Those are your 4. Julio says he agrees that dropping Avilés, but Mascherano will not get rid of an Argentinian. Yeah, but what are you going to do? You got to get rid of somebody. You can't. They're not. If you trust and listen to Mas, Segovia's not going anywhere. Silvetti's not going anywhere. He just got here. Ayala isn't going anywhere. He's just got here. So, it's got to be Avilés. That, it just has to be. And, as far as not dropping an Argentinian, I mean, most of the team is Argentinian. You're going to have to drop one eventually, right? I mean, when your team is made up of mostly Argentinians, somebody got to go eventually. I don't know. I don't think that's going to be the issue, because in a perfect world, would he have kept him? And maybe because of the Argentinian thing, maybe. But this is not a perfect world. He's got to get rid of somebody. So, going back to this guy, I forgot to put up his image because somebody had asked this question. V111114 says, do you think Blackman is more important than Berterame for Inter Miami? No. I think a speedy goal scorer is more important. we've already improved our defense a lot this year. And I'm not saying that's enough, because it's never enough, right? You always need to get better, and depth is important, especially when you're playing in so many tournaments. But look, we won the championship with a really weak defense last year. So now it's already improved. So I feel pretty good. Feel pretty good as is. Now, of course, if somebody gets hurt, we're screwed, right? Maybe. But no, I'd say that Berterame is more important. Speaking of players coming and going, I don't know if you guys saw this. Now, Noah Allen's been rumored a few times has interest in Europe. I think there was a Greek team out there that was interested in him. Now, Anderlecht from Belgium is interested in Noah Allen's services. So it's heating up for Noah Allen. Could Noah Allen be sold and sent packing or loaned? Because now this year, he's going to be sitting on the bench behind our new players, right? I mean, definitely not the first option anymore. So luckily he could play multiple positions. He could play center back or play left. But he's definitely going to be behind what Reguilon. I can't say his last name. I can't say names, guys. So Stancy is saying, is Noah really leaving? I mean, this is at this point just a rumor. I mean, but this is up on transferfeed.com, so it's a rumor that's got a buzz. And just because, here's the thing too, is just because teams are interested, sometimes that interest is, we're interested. And the rumors I had first heard about Noah Allen with some other teams was that they're looking at him. That does not mean necessarily they want to pull the trigger. That could mean, hey, he needs to have a good few months of the season, and by the summer maybe we'd be interested, or sometime earlier or whatever for a loan or something like that. It would be great. Stancy saying it would look good for Inter Miami to be able to send homegrowns to Europe. Exactly. Here's the thing: is I always. And some people in this chat at different times have kind of given me a hard time for the fact that I like some of our homegrowns, that I like Fafa because he's a local. I'm a big fan of a lot of local people, and some people don't understand that, and because they just want the biggest global names on our team. I get it, but being a local myself, growing up down here, being born and raised in South Florida, I like to see local people do well, and I want them on my team, but part of being a homegrown and Inter Miami being a business is selling those homegrowns, and you're going to make more money on your own local kids than you will on any other player. Like if they sold, they bought Aviles, if they sold him and they were able to make some sort of a profit, it'd be much smaller profit than they would be if they sold Allen. But I could see them loaning Allen out. Similar to what happened with Cremaschi. I could see that happening because he's going to be sitting on the bench a lot unless somebody gets hurt. And that's not going to... Oh, thank you, Francisco. Regulon. I think I kind of said that. I need that phonetic spelling. I appreciate that. I lost my train of thought now, but... That is funny. And One World saying yes, we are homers. Exactly. Another person that was mentioned as possibly going, there was at least interest, was Frey. Frey was interest. There was interest from Real Salt Lake. Now that I don't want to see happen, and it's not because Frey is from Coconut Creek, which I like, but no, because I don't want our homegrowns being sold within the league. Unless, of course, it's a lot of money, right? If they can get a lot of money. But quite often it ends up being, hey, $500,000 in GAM, $150,000 in GAM, and that's it, right? I want our young players to be, if they're going to be sold or loaned, go to Europe. Or go to bigger South American clubs even. That's fine too. But you want Inter Miami's academy to be seen as your stepping stone. That come play for Inter Miami as a kid and sign up for their academy and all that kind of stuff because they could take you places. Murmur 5580 says Allen will be the backup. Exactly. And so that's why I think it could make sense for a potential loan. But who knows? Who knows if this will happen or not? We shall see. But I would be happy for the kid if he gets loaned out or sold. That'd be great. Cremaschi, think about this. His loan deal is only I think through the summer. So Cremaschi could be coming back potentially to Inter Miami in the summer, unless they pull the trigger on him over there. So, and he's in Europe, so that's great. Oh, I didn't see your question, Julio, but I just answered it. It's going to be on loan through the summer. So that's good for him. And I don't know how much playing time he's gotten. I haven't really followed it. I do know I saw he was like interviewed on here. Yeah, Stancy's saying he's barely playing. Cremaschi was interviewed like right after the MLS Cup on Golazo, that channel that Paramount Plus owns. And I saw that interview. And that was like shortly after he had got some minutes. I think he had played in 2 games maybe. Mura can replace Frey as a new starter. Yeah, we'll see. I don't really look. I've never watched Facundo Mura play. I don't know, but my first reaction when they went out and got him is that Frey goes to the bench, because I just feel like when they're going out and buying a new player, it's the hot new commodity. It's the new toy. You guys all know when you go out and buy something new, you buy a new shirt, you want to wear it right away. You buy some new shoes, you want to wear them right away. He's the newest, player there in that position. And so I think it's an uphill battle for Frey. Can he do it? Yeah, I believe in him. I think he could win that battle. But at the end of the day, they're going to be playing in a lot of games, a lot of tournaments this year. So we got CONCACAF. It's just all the same tournament. Well, not all the same, but the CONCACAF Champions Cup, MLS Cup, Leagues Cup, all these cups that they'll be playing in. So there's gonna, whoever is on the bench is gonna get some playing time. But with Frey, it's like he was set back so much with all his injuries, and now he's healthy. And he's been healthy. He was healthy all year, and I want him to play. So I'm cheering for him. Sorry, Mura. You're now one of ours, but I'm cheering for Frey. I want him to win that position, but I still get the feeling it's an uphill battle for him because I think Mura is probably at least penciled in as the starter. And look, we'll get an idea. This is one thing I'm not sure about, actually. I should have Googled it before, because the preseason tour is this starting this Saturday, and they're going to Lima, Peru, and then after that to Colombia, to Medellin. I've never been to the Atletico Nacional Stadium, but I did drive past it a couple times, and there was a game going on, and it looked raucous. It looked really, really good. And then they're going to go to Ecuador and play Barcelona. So we should hopefully see. The thing is, speaking of seeing, is there anywhere in this article where we can watch these games? Are they going to be aired? I would assume that they would want to put Messi on Apple TV every opportunity, and I would assume that it will be on TV, but I don't see it anywhere here, and I did not Google that before the show, so I'm not sure if anybody else in the chat knows if it's going to be on TV for us to watch. I don't know. But as we talked about, and we mentioned in the title, that this is all a lead up for CONCACAF Champions Cup, because that is their main goal. And having said that, I would say these are obviously our preseason games, right? But so are these games. I think your first 3 MLS games may be treated kind of like preseason. Stancy is saying, Ma said there will be more preseason games. Yeah, I know, but there's nothing at least official. So I didn't pull that up or anything because I didn't see anything official, like what dates, right? But yeah, I did hear that there was going to be some more. But I would argue, like I mentioned, that these first 3 games in MLS could be treated like preseason because you are just trying to get warmed up for this March 11th. That's, I think, really they're warming up for March 11th. So that Atletico Ottawa versus Inter Miami. Now it should be an easy win, right? But then right after that, a week later, they would play Nashville here at Chase Stadium. Interesting that they're playing in Nashville against Ottawa. That's interesting. But so I would argue that, like I said, that they've got a minimum. Like I know that there's more announced, right, or going to be announced, but minimum, I'd say you have 6 preseason games minimum, and obviously there's talk about mentioning some more. This I don't like, and I did see somebody mention this Asian preseason tours in Asia. I don't want that. I did see that mentioned, but you can't trust everything on social media, so I don't know. But it those long the first year we had Messi and we did that Asia tour, it didn't do well. I mean, it's too much. One World One Goal says I should go to the stadium in Medellin, in Diego's home stadium. Nacional and Independiente play there. I know they do. You know what? I think my trips to Colombia might be over. My company was purchased, and it doesn't seem like they're as interested in sending me to Medellin anymore. So I don't know if those days may be over, because I used to go to Medellin every 3 months. I've done a few of these shows from Medellin, sitting in my hotel room. But I think some of those days might be over. Oh, is this Francisco? Francisco is saying in Colombia the game will be on Open TV on the RCN channel, and then also on the RCN YouTube, but it might be blocked regionally outside of Colombia. I still, there has been no official announcement as far as it being aired anywhere here, but I would assume you would put it on TV. Like all of our preseason games, I think, since Messi has gotten here, I think they've all been on TV. I think. Pretty sure. Trying to remember. Stancy's, speaking of Cremaschi, says that he looked it up and that he's only played around 115 minutes total, 6 appearances, all late substitutions. So he's definitely coming back unless something changes. I mean, yeah, it's not a surprise. I mean, you send a young player like that for the experience of it all, and in that training and in that competition level, it's fierce. That kind of goes back to, like, being on a bigger stage as well and all that. And I think that's why some of these players, like a Dane St. Clair, for example, chose to come to Inter Miami, because it's a bigger stage. We more eyes are on Inter Miami than any other MLS team, just facts. And so, a player like, say, someone like St. Clair come to Inter Miami for less money than what he would make in Minnesota, so that he's on that bigger stage, and he's only signed a 1-year deal. There's an option, but the 1-year deal, and under more pressure. I would say Inter Miami has more pressure. I think this is like stating the obvious. I'm not saying anything you don't already know, but Inter Miami has more pressure than any other team in the league. So someone like Dane St. Clair comes in here because of wants that pressure, because then hopefully it will help him move on to that next level. And going back to the Cremaschi thing, he's playing in an environment that has much higher pressure than say even Inter Miami, right? So I think it makes him a better player regardless. And so if he comes back, that's great. He comes back a better player, hopefully. Oh, Stancy's a girl. Sorry. I don't know. All right. Hey, so somebody was asking about Chase Stadium. Let's get rid of Noah. Whoop. No, let's get rid of that one. Let's bring up this one first. So somebody was asking about, will this stadium be ready? So this is my latest. Oh, here you go. Summer Sunshine saying, by the way, thank you for the stadium tour. Well, this is it. This is the video for the stadium tour. So just figured to put this on in the background because as after you finish looking at me here and I start showing some actual stuff, the question keeps coming up. I've seen it on Twitter when people are commenting on other posts. I've seen it on our comments. When they look at this stadium, when they look at what we see here, the question keeps popping up, will it be ready? I mean, look, I asked that question in every one of these videos that I film. And a lot of people are saying, there's no way in hell it will be ready. That look at how much they have to do. There is no way. They need 6 months to complete this, if not more, when they only have, currently they have 76 days. They have 76 days to finish this. As of today, 76 days, because that's April 4th is 76 days away. It needs to be ready for that first home game. So, and I'm a believer. I'm a believer. Julio is asking, did I buy some grass? No, I did not buy the grass. I did not buy the grass. And I can understand why people will look at this and you will say there's no way. I mean, there's no roads. There's, there's so much to go. How in the world can this be done? Now, from what I'm told, they've got crews working like 24/7. I was there on a Saturday, on this video, was now about a week ago. I think it was last Saturday, not this previous, but the last Saturday. Oh, and by the way, I think that's a team store. That video, that picture right there, I think that's one of the team stores. Judging by the image that's going to pop up eventually. There we go. I can understand why people look at this and question it. It just looks like they have such a long, long way to go with only 76 days. And I say in this video, I think near the end, that it would not shock. I expect it to be done, but it would not shock me if, there's some things that aren't 100% done, finished. It wouldn't shock me if, for example, you go into the bathroom and the toilet doesn't flush properly. It wouldn't shock me if the water fountains don't work. There's things like that. It wouldn't shock me if there's some painting that needs to be done. But I think it will be ready, and I have a reason that I think it will be ready. One World, One Goal says it's not Lockhart grass, or I would have bought it, Julio. Well, I mean, kind of is Lockhart grass. It's where Lockhart was. So, okay, so we all have seen this. This is the current state. How do you feel? In the chat right now, what is the general consensus? Looking at this video from just a week ago, do you think there's any shot in hell that this gets done in time? I'm a believer. You might think I'm a little bit naive. Will MFP will be used for World Cup? No. This is too small of a stadium for World Cup. That's going to be played at the Hard Rock Stadium, the NFL stadium. All the World Cup games are going to be in NFL stadiums. So they're not going to be in any of the MLS stadiums. This stadium is only 25,000 seats. And that's the other thing, is people sometimes will say 25,000 is too little. It's the right amount for the sport in this country at this time. Maybe some days later it'll be ready. Okay, here we got some people coming in. I wanted to give a minute to see. So Miami Mac says, I believe in miracles. So he's a believer. It will get done. Monk says, I think it'll be ready, but bare bones. Hey, just good enough for us to be in there, right? Boss Daddy thinks it'll be done. So you guys are believers. Stancy says, I think it'll be ready, but just the necessities. There won't be a lot of details not completed. Okay. That's possible. One World, One Goal agrees. Rick feels like it will be done in time. Okay. So you guys that tune in here every week, you're believers. All right. And here's why I brought up this video. I did a little research. So if you didn't know, I did this same exact thing for Chase Stadium. At the time called, we were calling New Lockhart or whatever. And eventually it was called Inter Miami CF Stadium for a little while. I did this same thing. If you're ever curious about watching that stadium getting built and you haven't seen those videos, they're in this channel. There's a playlist for construction videos. There's a bunch of construction videos there for Chase Stadium. And here, let's take a look at Chase Stadium. Now, this video is the same time difference. Hang on. Let me just set that up real quick. This is the same amount of time. So this video is from, I think it's from December 23rd of 2019. And what I say is the stadium was ready to open. Now, COVID happened, so things changed. But the stadium was ready to be open by, I think, March 10th. Because I have a video from March 11th, so it was probably filmed on March 10th of 2020 of the open house. So they opened the stadium for all the fans to come. I got to walk around the locker room. I got to see all kinds of cool stuff. And you had all the fans in the stands. And so it was ready to go at that time. So the December 23rd, I think that's when this video is from. It's roughly pretty close to the same amount of days. So it's roughly in the 70 to 80 days range, right? So around the same amount of time that Miami Freedom Park has to be done. So I'm telling you that Chase Stadium was done by early March, right? And Miami Freedom Park has to be ready early April. So we just picked one from December. This was, so this, again, around the same kind of time frame. And this is what Chase Stadium looked like in December, of literally like 70, 80 days away from, opening. Look at that. Look at that right there. I'm showing this because they pulled it off, right? Inter Miami was able to get this done. Now, you could argue that this stadium was easier to build because it's just metal, it's an erector set, all that kind of stuff. Fine. But if you think about the actual stadium itself, Miami Freedom Park is further along. Miami Freedom Park is further along than this. No roads here other than you'll see eventually, because I also filmed the training facility. You'll see some roads over by the training facility. Training facility was ready to go a little sooner. So Brad is saying there is just so much to be done. If they focus mainly on the stadium, maybe they will make it. Well, yeah, they will. I mean, there's other stuff obviously going on, but again, they were building two things at once. They were building the training facility and they were building the stadium. So, yeah, exactly, Monk. This is a good point. Benefits of having an owner that made his money in construction. Exactly. Again, look at this. Now, hang on. Let's pause. Can you see? There's grass in there already. See that little bit of green? I don't know if you can see it. They were already growing grass there, so they were a little bit ahead on the grass in this situation. But this stadium was bare bones with about 76 days away from being open. So if Miami Freedom Park is, I think, further along than this is why I think it'll make it. Because they did it before. And I think they were further behind. So, one more saying that's why Ed's ropey was there, because it was done quick. The rope thing was tied up in the very beginning of that first season. Like it was tied up. It somehow it fell and it was there for like 5-6 years, whatever. Rick is mentioning that, remember that Moss Tech are experts at road and utility building. So the facts, the roads are not ready is no big deal. That's the other thing too, is okay. So everybody knows I'm a big Disney fan. And I've watched these construction projects happening in Disney as well. And I remember watching them build Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars land. And it was supposed to like open within like, I don't know, weeks, maybe a month. And it was dirt everywhere. There were no paths to walk, nothing. It was just buildings and dirt. And that got they laid that, pavement or whatever, like within a week. It was done so fast. So, that is quick. Francisco says grass isn't grown on site. They bring rolls of grass and place them like a carpet. Yes, I'm aware. I think I maybe said they were growing the grass. Maybe I said that, but yeah, I know what you mean. But they do have at the new stadium. They showed this online. They have some of these laser light things. I don't know if they're laser, but they're infrared lights or whatever to help growing the grass over the time and stuff like that. So it'll be good. But I don't know if anybody hasn't seen these videos. They were pretty cool. And the one cool thing about the Lockhart video was that we were much closer because this is right up against the road. So it was much easier to film than it is. One World, One Goal says, I thought you said something about grass, Peter. We got to get the lawn guy on the show. I know. We've reached out to him on Twitter. He won't respond. You guys want to bug him? Everybody bug Matt Buderek or whatever and just tell him to come on our show. I want to talk grass with this guy. I'm big into my lawn. I have some questions. I have some questions like how can I make my lawn look like this? Boss Daddy says most of the bones are done. It's just cosmetics for the most part. That goes up fast. Exactly. That's why. And again, I wanted to. I did this research on my videos here for myself, really, and I thought, hey, this might be fun to show that if you look at where we were with Chase in the same amount of time frame, it just shows it could be done. And I really went. I wanted to see. I looked it up because I wanted to see. I wanted to remember where were we at that time, So I don't know. I love these videos. I watch them from time to time because this is pretty cool just to think about where we were. And how far we've come. So, anyways, anybody that, oh, wait, I had one more picture. This is not my photo. But somebody sent it to me. Check that out. So this is an aerial shot. Everybody also asks me how come we don't use a drone, because you can't fly a drone next to an airport unless you have permission. And so, I know the team has flown drone. They've obviously gotten permission. But check this out. Now, you see all that blue. My theory on that blue stuff was that those are nettings to catch anything that may fall while they're putting up the roof. I don't know that to be a fact, but it makes sense to me. But this looks pretty good. This looks pretty good, guys. I don't know about you. I don't know. Again, I would give credit to whoever shot this if I knew who it was, but it was sent to me, and so I'm not sure who filmed it or who took this picture. But I guess if you fly in and out of Miami International Airport and you're sitting on the right side of the plane, you can get a really nice image. So, but as far as what's done, I expect stadium, parking garage, concourse. Right. And again, like we talked about, if some things in the stadium may not be fully functional, I would not be surprised. But basically approved for people, right? Because it has to be, get your permit signed off on and all that. So approved for people. I would say parking garage, pathway to said parking garage, concourse area, stadium. Everything else, not done. Even though we, in my last video, you saw. Close to the road, that square box building being put up. That could be a restaurant, could be Pop Stroke, could be any of the things that are going in over there. I'm not sure. But I would not expect those to be done, even though those could probably go up fairly quick. But I would imagine once this is done, they're just going to move over to the other part. It's going to be continual construction for the next few years. Francisco is mentioning when the heavy machines leave, they have to get started with drainage for the field and the watering system. After that, only roll the grass and ready to go. I'll be really excited when I see the seats in the stadium, because right now, there's no seats. I'll be excited when when you see the seats. I think somebody else had mentioned they need to get that roof up. Yep, that'll be exciting. But once the roof goes up, we really won't see the seats unless we get that inside tour that we want so badly. And, and I see other people getting these tours. I'm like, son of a gun. Now, in all honesty, I haven't gone through proper channels and tried to ask for a tour, but because we've always kind of done things outside of the team. I kind of enjoy not being recognized by the team as official or anything, because then, they can't tell me not to say anything, right? We could do whatever we want because we're completely independent. We are not part of the media. We're not part of any of that stuff. So we're completely independent. So I haven't reached through proper channels. I didn't have to reach through proper channels with Chase Stadium. They just invited me in. They just saw me there every single weekend and invited me in. I became friends with the security. And then one time Paul McDonough just saw me and I pulled his car over and offered me a tour. So that one I couldn't film because that was at the training facility. I wasn't allowed to film that, but I got to do it. And so those were the, but back in those days, I didn't have to ask for anything. Here, it's a little further. It's the construction site's is set further back, so it is definitely harder for me to get those kind of that kind of meet people. Those kind of relationships. It's a little harder because I'm just walking along a busy road, pretty far away from the construction. So, anyways. One World, One Goal says, Peter likes being edgy. I don't think I'm edgy, but I like to, I don't know, there's something fun about being a little independent. And, but at the same time, that means we don't get invited to the tours that when you see, other people that are part of the media list, when they get tours. So, we know a few people in there, but I don't know. We haven't gotten it. We haven't gotten an invite, but I would love to get one. They should give us one. Look, out of anybody, you see people pop up. I saw a video pop up today from some YouTube channel. They're probably official media. I don't know, that got a tour, and that probably was the first time they've ever been there. Me or Ed are there all the time, filming. We're the only ones. We're the only ones that go there every month. If I lived closer, I'd be there every week. That's what I did with Chase. I did it every week because I was so close. But I'm not that close to Miami Freedom Park. So once a month is all we can get in there. So Rick says the important people are the ones that know you, the fans. Aw, thanks. I would agree. Sergio, yes. Hopefully the improved acoustics can turn the stadium into a fortress. It is going to be much louder in that stadium for sure because of the roof. So that is going to be good. That, because that is sometimes, I've noticed the band can be loud at Chase Stadium, but sometimes it just kind of floats away, the sound. And it's not as loud as when you go to maybe someplace else. Like when I went to last year, I guess, when I went to the Orlando City Inter Miami game, that stadium was pretty loud, and there's a little more of a roof, if I remember correctly. I think there's a roof over the supporters, so it helps with the noise. Mike V is saying, I don't know why you haven't received a media pass, just because. I haven't asked for one. So media, if you're going to use a media pass, one of the great things about media is that, hey, you don't have to pay for tickets. Great. But then you have to go sit in the media room, and I can't go looking like this. I got to go looking professional. I can't be a fan. And I want to be a fan. I've done the media thing on a lower level. Did it with the Fort Lauderdale Strikers and Miami FC and all that kind of stuff. It's much lower level, but it was still the same kind of rules, and it's not as much fun. I want to go and be a fan. I want to yell. I want to scream. And that's what I want to do. So that's why we're not media. But having said that, they should still recognize the fact that, we are dedicated with our channel and this kind of stuff. But, they don't. So what can I do? Rick says, Miami Heat used to play crowd noises to make it louder. You think we should do the same? Hell no, we should not do the same. And apparently we were accused of doing that. And people have told me, so I have friends that sit, in a fancier section, and they had told me they had speakers that were not piping in fake noise, but they were piping in the La Familia. So Sud Legion and all on the supporters, they were putting that, they had microphones over there, and they're piping that into other parts of the stadium so that it sounded louder all throughout the stadium. They did it a few times. People, got wind of it, complained. It didn't happen. And so, hell no, you should not do the same. It's got to be authentic, right? So if we're not making that noise, then it should be crickets, right? It's got to be authentic. That's it. So that's how I feel. Chris says, get on the communications list. I'm on their email list. I get their emails. That's about it. But I don't get invited to anything. So I get all the press releases sent to me. That's about it as far as I go. But I don't want to be media because it's just not as much fun. But the benefit is I get invited to stuff, right? So, I don't know. I just never asked. All right, guys. I think that's about it. As far as piping and things, Sports Shorts is saying he doesn't like when a team does that piping in the music. It should be the real crowd. Agreed. All right. On that note, let's see what happens on Saturday when the team flies to Lima, Peru. And we're going to see this team in action. I don't know about you. How many? Okay, side note here at the very end. How many times have you guys watched that championship game, Inter Miami's championship game? I watch it regularly. A lot of times I'll put it on right before I'm going to sleep just to get me tired because I've seen it so many times. There's no surprises. So I'll kind of get a little sleepy and watching it. And I've watched it so many times. So curious how many times you've watched it. I can't wait for this new season to start. I am so ready for this new season, ready for the new stadium, even though I don't want to drive that far, but I'm ready. So anyways, all right, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. See you, everybody. Thanks.